Okay, a run through of how to use Excel and Autograph to analyse information for control assessment and other work in other subject areas. So I've got some data here, Mail IQ and their combined SAT scores for English, Maths and Science, and I want to look to first check to see if there's any outliers. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up some formulas for that. So if we press equals and quartile, because we want to work out the lower quartile, the upper quartile in this quartile range. So equals quartile highlights the data, so drag over the data, comma 1, then that allows us to calculate the lower quartile value. So that's the lower quartile. Now, to make sure that I can use the same range of data for all the quartiles, I just put $1 in front of the cell reference. So dollars in front of the cell references. That then fixes, so I can just simply copy that down now 3 times, and I can just change each of the quarters to the second quartile. So that's going to be the median, and the third quartile, which is going to be the upper quartile. So that gives me the median, and that then gives me the upper quartile. Now the interquartile range is simply the upper quartile value, so equals for a formula, so upper quartile value minus the lower quartile value. Now it's useful to know the maximum and the minimum value in the range of data. So again, because I've already got the range in there, I can just copy those down. Sorry, I need the quartile value because I want the range, so I can paste that and then copy that down, and I can change the formula here to max and get rid of the quartile bits. That tells me the maximum value in my data range, so equals max and then the data range. I can just copy that down and change that to min for the minimum value. Okay, now I've highlighted both of those, let's have a look. So that's the min, all the way around, so that's the minimum and that's the maximum. And then the quartile, the outlier calculations is lower fence is equal to the lower quartile value minus 1.5 times the interquartile range, which is in this cell here, and the upper fence, or the upper boundary for outliers, is equal to the upper quartile plus 1.5 times the interquartile range value. So when I look at my lower fences and my upper fences, I can see that the minimum value suggests that there are some outliers, and the maximum value also suggests there are some outliers. So I just highlight all the data because I want to keep the pairing for the bivariates together. And if I then sort, let's have a look. If I then sort with no headers in my data, column A, then here's my data. So my lower fence was 80 point, so that means the values to there are considered to be outliers, so I can clear the contents of those. Now just before I do that, if I Control Z, I want to fix these values because they're going to be my original calculations. So if I make sure formulas calculations in manual mode, and then whenever I want a calculation to be done, I can press F9. That then means that my data stays. And if I go to the other end, I'm looking for things bigger than 121. So I've got these values here which are outside the boundary. Okay, so that's cleaned my data of any outliers. So I can now delete delete the contents of those just to line up my, so shift cells up. Right, so that's allowed us to get the data clean of outliers, and now I can use autograph to actually do all the calculations for me. So for the mean, the average, the standard deviations, plot the scatter graphs, plot box plots and so forth. So to put my data in to autograph, I just highlight, so I'm going to do the mail IQ first. So if I highlight the mail IQ, copy, go to autograph. Now at the moment I've got a 2D page up. For stats I need a single page, so we go for the stats option, and we've got two options here. We can enter group data and we can enter raw data. I'm just going to enter raw data because I want to draw a box plot and do some ordinary statistics. So I'm going to click that, right hand mouse click paste. That's put in the data. Obviously give it a heading, so this is male IQ. Always give your data sets headings so that you know which is which. And now I can click the box plot, OK, and there's my box plot drawn. Now at the moment the scales, I've got a lot of white space left, right, and I've also got the wrong label over on the axes of X, so I need to be able to change that into different things. So if I click on axes, edit axes, that then gives me the option to change the scale. So I'm going to change my scale to go from an X of 70 to a maximum of 130. I'm also going to change my labels. So this was male IQ score, and I'm also going to change the font sizes so that if I do copy this into a Word document or anything, then I can actually read the scale labels. So I'm going to change it to font size 16, and I'm also going to change the axes labels to the same font size 16. That then gets everything looking how I want it. I should always give things tiles as well in terms of the box plot. So if I click text box, it's already put some of the data there for me. So it's put the median and the semi-interquartile range, but I'm just going to put in the fact that this is so I remove the text. So it's a box diagram. So male IQ, and if I click on the summary statistics box here, the sum X, then I can get all my values transferred into the results box. And then if I bring the results box up, drag that a bit wider, then I've got my calculations in here. So again, I can take that, copy, create a statistics box, remove the original object box. I can paste in here, take out the things I don't want. So if I take out semi-interquartile range, I'd want the upper quartile value, the median, the lower quartile value, the range, the standard deviation, the mean, the number in the sample, and we don't want that. I don't want any other letters in here because this is about IQ, so I don't want any X's and things. So, and we can line up our numbers possibly a bit better. So it's mean IQ, standard deviation of IQ, the range of IQ, the lower quartile, median, and the upper quartile. Okay. text box where I want, and I can have it over this side if I wanted to widen the scale and so forth. So that's given me all my data. Again, it doesn't quite line up, so I want to maybe go back into that text box and line up things to make it look a bit neater. So that's how I can put the data into Autograph, and I can create a box plot, and then I could do print screen and transfer that as a picture file into Word or something. If I want to do other calculations, so for example I want to draw a scatter graph, then I'd go back to my original data. I would then get hold of both the data, the bivariate data, copy, take that into Autograph, and this time I want a 2D page because I want to draw a scatter graph. So I've got my 2D page. Click on the green plus where it says enter XY data, paste, and it's really important this time that I click on the show statistics box, because that then calculates all things like the Spearman's rank and the equation of the line of best fit, and if there is a correlation, then of course we can quote that and use that in our summaries. So we click OK and transfer the data into the results box. And we can see from this, and if we go back to the results box and have a look at our calculations, we can see that Spearman's rank here is suggesting that there's virtually no correlation at all between these particular data sets, this bivariate data, but it does give us the information we need, like the mean for all the data. It's saying X and Y again, so obviously we've got to change that into things. With the Spearman's rank being so low, then obviously we can't use line of best fit or anything, but if we did get a scatter graph with a reasonable correlation, then of course we can click on a data point, right hand mouse click, and then we could have added on a line of best fit by clicking on there, but we can't because Spearman's rank is so low. So that's the scatter graph. Again, if we go to axes, edit axes, then we can change the range of the data. So we can change it from 60 to 130 for the X values. The Y space isn't too bad, so we could leave that. And I'm going to change the labels to what it was. So the X data was IQ, and the Y data was SAT score. And then I'm going to change the appearance so that the font sizes are nice and big, so that when I transfer it into Word or something, at least I've got something that looks reasonable. So there's my scatter graph, and of course we can quote that as saying there's really no correlation between the male IQ score and their SAT results on this particular example. And that's again how you can use Autograph to produce scatter graphs and put lines of best fit on and calculate data if you want to. And again, you could put a text box on here and so forth. Okay.